Good morning once again, and thank you for staying tuned on the program this morning on ITV. On this very segment, we want to be looking at Nigeria and the change agenda. I've got two vibrant youths with me in the studio this morning. I have Ogbeide Ifaluyi-Isibor. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you.
He's a public affairs analyst, and I also have Osaro Friday Aghedo.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'll just start with you, Aghedo. Looking at the change agenda, how would you say it has fared so far?
Well, so far, Mr. President has been working so hard, and with the change agenda, let's not forget that the budget is yet to be passed. I mean, it's yet to be signed into law.
Yeah.
And by the time it's signed into law, Nigerians will begin to feel the impact of the change agenda. And about the change, we can feel the change in the fight against corruption. How those we didn't expect that we see looting our treasury. Today we can see them. We can see them in EFCC net. The high and mighty. We never expect that they will go into prison one day. So we can feel the change agenda and the fight against corruption and all that.
Okay. Ogbeide, I don't know if you're feeling the same change.
Well, the truth is, Nigerians have come to realize that the promise of change by the government in power today was a lie. They've come to realize that it was a fraud. They've come to realize that it was orchestrated to deceive the people and to clinch to power at all costs. Because from the inception of the government, we've seen that it's not just a change now, it's a retrogression from what we had before. A lot of promises were made by the government, as it were, to make it look as though they were ready to improve Nigeria, but sadly that has not been the case. So if you ask the average man on the streets today what he perceives of the government today, he may burst into tears, because we all know what's going on at the moment. We see how easy it is to have fuel. We see how we enjoy 24 hours power supply. We see how the economy is booming and no jobs are lost, just to make a joke of it. It's a catastrophic disaster, if you ask me. Nigerians have never had it this bad. Even during the Civil War, it wasn't this bad. We are seeing that, just for example, last month, 31 billion naira was divested from the Nigerian Stock Exchange by foreigners and taken to Kenya. We've seen that since June last year, over 2.5 trillion naira has been divested from the Nigerian economy by foreigners. We've seen that the foreign direct investment of Nigeria has dropped by over 40%. We've seen that visitors who hitherto thought the economy was one to invest in, we've seen them leave the country. So the change has really been a change, if you ask me. But has it been in the right direction? Or has it been in the wrong direction? The politicians will tell you, oh yeah, the president has not gotten his budget, the president has not done this. Or they blame the PDP. Oh, PDP had 16 years of government, they couldn't. For me, it's a lazy excuse. It's okay to give an excuse for a while, but it's not okay to continuously give an excuse when you are not doing anything visibly, to change or to attempt to change what's the excuse you're giving. So it's a sad situation in Nigeria today. And the vice president was in Kano a few days ago, and you saw the way he was received, with so much disdain and disgust by the people. These same people who gave the president about 1.9 million votes. You could say that it was a shame, if you ask me. Thank you.
No, sir, you actually shaking your head when you was talking.
Well, it's really unfair for anyone to say that, for anyone to condemn the president, just to score some cheap political points. 2015, when President Buhari took over power, the price of oil per barrel was about $25, if I'm not wrong, $7 per barrel. But today we can see it after Buhari's travel to Saudi Arabia. Today, as I'm talking to you right now, the price of oil per barrel is $41. And anyone saying that is not an improvement, I think he's not being sincere with himself. And again, as a result of the ban of some commodities, we can see that the manufacturing sector of the country is booming, and which in turn will create job employment and even indirect employment as well, and as well is telling positively on the economy of the country. You know, what I would just advise is, for now, I think saying the change agenda was a fraud in less than a year. You know, it's absurd. You know?
Okay, actually, Friday, in less than almost a year now, there's actually 11th month, and you know, students are still expecting to have their 1 meal a day in school.
Yeah.
And the youths, we've heard so many stories about the 5,000 naira for training, no longer for everybody and all that. We've not seen anything. So
of course, you can't see that when the budget is not passed the law. It will be in the budget of the current administration, and as soon as it's passed, you know, I thank God our budget. I think Buhari's budget broke a record with the 30% current expenditure. You know, which is at least almost almost a doubling what we've been having in the past. So that is budget for hope, budget for the youth. And by the time the budget is passed into law, you know, there will be massive employment in the police. You know, President Buhari has promised 10,000 police recruitment. You know, even in the education, teachers will be employed. You know, so the meal per day, the president has not said he won't do it, but it's in his budget, and as soon as the budget is being passed, then all this will begin to be implemented.
You want to react to some of the things he said?
Yeah, my friend has spoken quite well, and you know, he feels that criticizing the president just yet is unfair. I don't think so. I think that if the president became president May 29th, by June 1st, people are already watching, you know, what you're going to do. Because this is a president who struggled for 12 years to become president. And so people felt, okay, let's give him the opportunity. You know, he must have had a blueprint or a plan of what to do when he gets there. But people have been amazed. See, requesting the APC or believing that the APC would fulfill her promises is like expecting a man to bear a child. You know, men don't bear children. That is the same way APC cannot fulfill. They may want to, but they cannot. I tell you why. The issue of a meal a day, it was just a campaign stunt.
But so many people held onto it.
No, yeah, so a lot of people were deceived.
Don't forget.
You know, I'm coming, sir. Okay. A lot of people were deceived. You know, the president promised that corps members after service, those who can't get jobs, will get an allowance for 1 year. The president promised that every child...
You mean the APC promised?
Yes, the president promised that every child will get a free meal a day. He did not say after my budget is passed. He said when you elect us and when we become a government, we will ensure that there's a free meal a day. Promises were made for those who were very poor, who will be given special allowances. You see, when I heard all those things, I just told those who were doing that these guys are just a band of jokers who just want to make ridicule of Nigerians, who want to make merchandise of the sensitivities of Nigerians. It is not, look at Osun State, who was at some point given a free meal a day. The state is on his knees at the moment. The government cannot even pay himself, let alone to pay staff. So children who were before now having a meal a day in some schools, now they have no meals, the parents have no jobs, so they have no salaries. So it's you see, my brother said that the budget was budget of hope. That's what he termed it, budget of hope. And well, I would strongly disagree with him, because we saw what happened when the budget was sent to the National Assembly. For the first time, Nigerians had a budget that the world recognized as a catastrophic disaster. For the first time. where we had a budget, where there were provisions about 30.8 million naira to be paid for Aso Rock rent, a facility owned by the Nigerian people, where we had a budget of about 327 billion for some frivolous expenses, where we had a budget for the president's barbing salon. It was just a mess. And I said, I'm coming.
Okay.
For anyone to assume that was a budget of hope is just playing with the words. You see, even when the president was on Al Jazeera, and the interviewer told him that your budget has been the worst budget ever presented in Nigeria since the 1914 amalgamation. And the president was trying to give an excuse, and he was blaming the civil servants. That was the height of responsibility.
The party.
You cannot, it is unacceptable for the president, for the commander-in-chief, to blame or to heap blames on civil servants for his own responsibility. It's not. Oh, they say, oh, the president cannot, or the president ought to have an economic team. You see, in fairness to the president, he really believes that he is the best person to run Nigeria, but that is wishful thinking on his own part. I think the president needs to get very smart people on board, that's one, and listen to people. Listen to Nigerians. The Constitution says that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, through which government draws its authorities and powers. The people should decide. The people should have a say. It should be an inclusive governance. The people should be a part of the government. But that's not the case now. The president, by happenstance, does not care what Nigerians are going through. No, let me tell you why. You see, I would not have said it if there were no pointers to that fact. If we are going through a continuous fuel scarcity for more than 2 months, it's not as if NUPENG is on strike. It's continuous, and the president has not thought it wise to address the nation on it. To address the nation on the issues surrounding the fuel scarcity, and when it's not enough for the Minister of State to address us. That's why we have a president. We're having the highest level of economic disaster in the history of Nigeria. Over 2 trillion naira lost. We're having jobs lost every day. Over 2 million jobs lost in Nigeria. If one man is to feed 5 people, and you are having about 2 million jobs lost, that's 10 million Nigerians driven to hunger, all of it in 1 year. And they're saying, oh, give the president time. Time to do what?
I think these are fake statistics. You know, he talks about the budget padding. You know, thank God for a president like Muhammadu Buhari, you know, who we know is a man of integrity. This exposed the fact that this issue of budget padding didn't just start now, but because of the kind of government we run, where we see where Ghana must do flies between Aso Rock and the Senate. You know, nobody knows about the budget padding. But today, they've exposed themselves, and we know that all this will come to a stop immediately. But
Friday, you agree with me that some of these issues that were seen in the budget, some of the things have never been in Nigeria's budget before. Like so let's like rent for Aso Rock. Have you ever seen it anywhere in Nigeria?
Well, I'm not aware of the rent of Aso Rock in Nigeria. I'm not aware of that. He's saying that I think I'm aware of it first. I'm not aware of the rent of Aso Rock. And if it's there, if it is there, you can't tell me it's not the same Aso the former president stayed that the president is staying.
That's the point.
So you tell me that what has not been in the budget before now will not be in the budget now. I think if we want to kind of criticize the president, I think we should bring out points. Should understand. And it talks about the fuel scarcity of the thing. You know, let's not forget that this issue of fuel scarcity it's a direct hangover of the lackadaisical attitude of the previous government.
Friday, please. I'll still draw you back to the budget.
Okay.
The president really agreed that the budget was padded, right or wrong?
Of course, he agreed.
And who did he blame for all that?
Well, now let's not forget that after that issue, a lot of senior staffs in the budget, office were driven. That is to tell you the level of corruption. The president is just one person. That's why he has people working him. Has to tell you the level of corruption happening in there. And the best thing he has to do was to clean up that environment by sacking or deploying those people. So else it won't happen again. It's so unfortunate, you know, but it happened. Now for Nigerians to know what has been happening for the past 16 years in government. You understand? Now let me go back to the fuel issue. the fuel issue. The fuel issue is the direct hangover of the attitude of the past administration. When President Muhammadu Buhari came into office as president, later on we heard that the oil marketers were being owed over 500 billion naira, majority of which could not be verified as true. You know, but now it's like what do you call it? The president is being held to ransom by some group of cabals. But one thing I'm happy about is this: the NNPC has begun to import fuel at least over 70%. So I'm aware, and for the first time in 10 years, the Warri refinery has been able to transfer crude, you know, to Kaduna refinery and all that. At least that would decentralize.
But Friday, we were told that some of these refineries were already working up to 75–80% capacity. That was then, but now what's happening?
Listen, you see, you were told that they were working, but they still needed some servicing to be able to work perfectly. You know, and now in the past, as I said earlier, for the first time in 10 years, Warri refinery can now transfer crude to Kaduna refinery and Bonny to Port Harcourt. I think Bonny to Port Harcourt. You know, extra bus to Warri and stuff like that. This will decentralize the means of transporting fuel and crude. And as time goes on, before you know it, this issue of tanker drivers going to queue up in Lagos would reduce. You know, as such, fuel transportation would be easy. And let's not forget that this issue of pipeline vandalism has come up on the rise again, where the contractors who were supposed to be guiding the pipelines, I mean these militants, what they call the Ateketom and the Tompolo and others, have gone back to the normal business. You know, so all this the president is working on, and by special grace, I'm very optimistic that after now, this issue of fuel scarcity will be a thing of the past.
Well, let me respond quickly to what my friend has said. First of all, he said that my statistics were fake, but I was thinking he was going to prove me wrong that they were fake. You see, we must fix culpability where culpability is. In a nation where we are run by, in quote, a democracy as it should be, we should be able to, you know, express our views, you know, as Nigerians. We should be able to bring forth strong points, strong proof before the people. You see, there's nothing you can say now. You see, it's okay to give an excuse on the past government. The refineries were not built to transfer crude. That's why they are called refineries. And you were lied to when you were told that they are working to 70%. You were obviously lied to. This is what has been happening. The government put some pressure, some form of pressure on the media to portray the government in good light. But the Nigerian people are not dumb. They see what's going on. There's never been a time where our refineries have worked 70% in the last 10 years. The president has even come to say that it is easier to import fuel than to refine. So this can tell you that these guys did not have an idea of what it was before they came in. We have seen the Minister of State of Petroleum shift deadlines. We have seen him make promises. We have seen him counter those promises. He said that the first week of April, that the first issue will be resolved. Oh, he said 7th. Then he said, no, I didn't say 7th. I said on the first week. Oh, don't quote me, I didn't. It's a confusion on its own. And I would suggest that we look at the issue holistically, and the president takes advice from people who should advise him. He has advisors, 1 or 2 of them, who are not bold enough to advise him. Here he has a form of narcissistic personality. Yes, and so it's about you feel that anything you want to say to him, you are wrong. Whatever he thinks is, that is not how a nation is run.
You're not close to him, so you wouldn't know.
No, but that is the truth. Let me tell you why I said so.
Right.
You can see that from his actions. You can see that from his policies. You can see that from his programs. At the time, the customs said, oh, there was a ban on the importation of rice through the land borders. A few days later, they say, oh, we've lifted the ban. Or a few months later, so, oh, the ban has been. I'm coming, sir. It just shows that there is no clear direction. Investors are leaving. Why? They don't know the direction, the economic direction of the government. There's no plan. The president has no economic team, people to advise him on the economy. You see, we're seeing massive job loss like we have never seen before. That is the truth. Even if he doesn't agree with me, he doesn't have to. I'm coming, sir. He doesn't have to agree, but that's the truth. Nigerians are losing their jobs. Banks are firing people. Construction companies are firing people because they cannot afford to maintain staff. And any nation where that is happening, and the president doesn't seem to understand or doesn't seem to appreciate the issues that is going on, and feels he can be traveling wherever he wants to go to, what has been the benefits? My friend said that
to attract investors.
No, I'm coming, man. In the last 3 years before he came in, Nigeria was #1 nation in Africa for foreign direct investment.
On paper.
I'm coming.
On paper.
Whether it's on paper or in reality. I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, sir. I'm coming. Nigeria was #1 for FDIs in Africa. Today, Cote d'Ivoire is #1. Nigeria has slipped to #4. It's still on paper. Nigeria was #1, one of the fastest growing economies in Africa.
On paper too.
I'm coming. On paper, but still on paper. I'm coming, sir. Still on paper, it has slipped. He said that before the president came, the price of oil was low, and when he went to Saudi Arabia, it went to 41. That is all a jumbling of ideas. It is not true. A president of a nation cannot affect the price of oil in the international market. I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, sir. No. He's traveling abroad, had no inclination, had no effect on the. These are things controlled by market forces. If he said, oh, Saudi Arabia and Iran had an agreement which affected the price of oil, if he said, okay, America, not the Nigerian president going to Saudi Arabia and that. No. These are clear indications that many of us don't really understand what's going on. Because we see some of these things on social media and we take it home because a lot of them are concocted. The president was in the US some days ago, and a few minutes later, a few hours later, we saw headlines that Obama said, because of you, I'm going to come to Nigeria to. That was just a blatant lie. A lie to Nigerians. We've had a dormant, docile system of governance in the past 1 year. And if we are to give him more time, let him talk to us. We can't be waiting for him to go to the US before we know what he's thinking. Address the nation. So you don't let us have a relationship with the government. Let the president talk to Nigerians. Let him address our problems. Let us feel that he cares about what's going on. Because right now, he doesn't. You don't expect
him to speak well of Mr. President. You know, because I know.
No, I'm in Nigeria.
Why is that?
No, I'm in Nigeria. So if the president is not impressing me,
I know where it's coming from. You guys don't expect him to speak well of this current government.
No, that's right.
Are you getting me now? These are people who promote and say all sort of sweet lies, you know, in favor of the former administration. Okay. He spoke about, but thank God today we can see what's happening in the country.
Hold on, Friday, please. I just want to ask you this. Prior to now, have you seen these kind of queues in filling stations before now?
This is not the first time we're explaining first class.
Not just the queue, the prices.
And the prices as well.
Because it's not the, before in the very late period of President Goodluck Jonathan's administration, then I was in Lagos.
Yeah.
As in Ikorodu, if a liter of fuel was sold for as high as 300 naira in Ikorodu, then.
When was this?
After
the elections?
No, just after the elections. Just before the president and over to.
And for how long did this last?
Of course, it lasted. It doesn't matter how long. What matters was it had been experienced before. See, listen to me. He spoke about some social media gimmicks. You see, we don't expect people like my friend to come on air and talk about Mr. Buhari, the president, and because these are the group of people who go on social media and spread lies.
No. Excuse me. Wait. My friend is assuming that Nigerians are dumb.
Let me give you an answer.
It's not about me. It's not about me.
Let me give you an answer. It's not about me. The picture that was posted on Facebook some time ago, the picture was brought from Cameroon. And my friend here posted it on Facebook and said, it is in Edo State. No. Listen, let me tell you. I can show you the picture.
Let's talk about this issue at hand.
I'm driving somewhere. These are part of what I'm driving. You don't expect him to speak well of Mr. President. We don't, of course, we're all suffering the first casting now.
Okay,
but we know, listen, but we know it is the direct hangover of the past. Yes,
almost after 1 year.
Yes, of course.
Okay.
You know, and all these issues, it's because Mr. President on his own, the former president, he really gave this oil marketer so much power. Okay. To the extent that they even dictate price to him and tell him when and when not to import fuel. You know, but this time around, this president is trying to change things right now, and these so cabals would not want to make it possible. But I'm very sure with time they would know that Nigerians have accepted change that they've been yearning for, and from now things will begin to go on as supposed to be. Do you understand? He spoke about President Muhammadu Buhari's traveling.
Yes.
His travel has really, I support the travel because it
has attracted investment.
A lot of things. Let's say, for example, Switzerland, for example, have agreed to return stolen funds that have been stored in their country. Yes. Before now, we are aware that the former administration relooted people's loot, you know, that was brought back into the country. You get? So now this global these foreign people now have they have confidence in the current administration.
Exactly, we have a lot of money that they
and as such they are ready to now bring it back. And because they know that this current administration will use it judicially for the benefit of the people.
But why do you think we still want to borrow in spite of all
let me help.
Let's not forget that we are still underdeveloped.
Okay.
We're not developed.
So we need as much money
as we can borrow. Country still borrows. We are not yet developed.
Okay. So let me help a bit. First of all, I won't want to go personal like my friend has. No, it's not needed. You know, for him to have assumed certain things which are not true. But let's go back to the issues. Yes. The president is in China. Okay, he went to China on Wednesday.
Going to China today.
Oh, is it today?
Yes.
Okay.
Sunday.
And the plan is to negotiate terms and conditions to borrow about $2 billion to bring it to the Nigerian economy. This is the same government where we've had
to finance the $3 trillion deficit in the budget.
They said that the UAE was returning $200 billion of monies stocked by Nigerians from the past governments returned to Nigeria. We've heard that some politicians have returned millions of dollars. There are lots of these stories of about 20 billion that's been returned or this part returned. The Switzerland issue talked about, Switzerland has always returned Abacha's loot. This is not the first time. You know, so if we're having all these monies coming in, there's TSA now where we're able to put together 3 trillion naira, the customs have made 1 trillion naira in the last month and all that. Why then should a man have all this surplus in quotes and go ahead to borrow at an interest from a different nation to fund his budget? It all shows that there has been a barrage of lies and untruth exposed by the president or exposed by the government to the Nigerian people.
Is it going to use it judiciously?
Thank you very much, Friday Aghedo, for coming on the program today. We'll continue this. And Ogbeide, Ifaluyi-Isibor, thank you also for coming on the program today.
Thank you very much.
Well, the truth is, whether you like it or not, some people are thinking like Ogbeide and others are also thinking like Friday, and they still have others who have their own thoughts about the government. What's your thoughts about this present administration and the change agenda? TMI continues with Wilson. Good morning.